Hello guys and welcome back to our channel. Are you ready for a new venture? This week, I take you with me on a luxury yacht. Join me as I take on the challenge of cooking a gourmet meal on a luxury yacht while sailing through the stunning waters of Palawan. So I'm glad that I get the opportunity to be invited as a cook on a luxury yacht of Busuanga Bay in Palawan, Philippines. In this video, we're going to tackle the different challenges we can face cooking on a yacht. One of the first challenges on the yacht will be space and storage. Another point that is different from cooking at home to a yacht is the motion and the stability. So a yacht is moving depending on the weather, depending on if there is a wind. I'm a bit afraid that I'm going to get seasick. I won't be able to cook on the boat, but I will still have to cook because the guests are there and they will be hungry for sure. So that's one of the challenge I am afraid of. Of course, you need to think ahead. When you're cooking on a yacht, you need to provision your supply. Make sure you have enough for your guests and for the crew during the whole trip. Cooking on the yacht means also to be careful of your resources. Your water, your power is limited, and you don't want to waste any of that. Use them carefully. Of course, as a cook on the yacht, I have to answer to the crew and the guest needs, as well as I have to be creative and offer a nice meal plan that will be adjusted for the different passenger on the boat. We're gonna have two adults and two kids. So one of the requests from the guests was that the food would not be too spicy, of course, because of the kids, and no additional flavors that would be weird for kids. It's just something I have to keep in mind because I love to put a lot of flavors and spices to my food. One of the challenge would be to manage the stress and the fatigue. In this video, we will also talk about the solution that enables us to overcome the different challenges. For sure, organization and planning is the key. I mean, it's the key in every kitchen, but even more on the boat. You need to be super organized, and the preparation is crucial. Using a multifunctional cookware to store your food efficiently, being flexible and adaptable. That's one of the things you need to keep in mind if you're going to cook on a yacht, and always prioritize crew and guest satisfaction. I mean, I don't think this is specific to a yacht because anywhere you're working in the tourism industry, you want to satisfy your guests. But on the yacht, you have the crew also that you need to take care of because they cannot go anywhere, right? You'll be the one to cook for everyone. So make sure everybody has a happy time. So let's go. I bring you with me on this journey and on this new venture. Let's see how it goes. So actually, the initial plan was that we're gonna go in town in Coron for supply and provision. Me and the captain were planning to go by car in Coron, so we could have discussed of what we need to buy and make a list, and then go in the different shop and get the supply. Well, this day arrived, and the thing is that I was not feeling really well. I really needed to get a checkup. So I needed to go in Coron earlier. The plan changed a little bit. I arranged to meet directly in Coron town. So there is no time for testing. In the same time, I sent my daughter Jiya to her Lola because I won't be here in the house for a week. So my husband also needs to work. So it's two kids. It's a bit complicated. So Liam stay in the house. Jiya goes to her Lola. So first mission done. I sent Jiya to her Lola. She's gonna spend a week in the barrio. She was so happy to go there to see her tita. Good for me because you know how hard it is to send your kid for a week away. It's a bit heartbreaking, but well, sometimes we also need to work, right? So I was doing all I had to do in Coron. I had some stuff to buy. And then we were still communicating with the captain, but at the end, he couldn't come. So first challenge and first adaptation I had to do is that I had to do the market by myself without a list, without any planning. Good for me that I had a meal plan already. So what I did is I sat, I took a pen, I took a paper, I look at my menus, and I started to write all the things that I need to buy. The thing which was a bit complicated is that I didn't got the chance to go on the yacht, so I didn't know what's there or not. So we were communicating with the captain and chatting and say, "Do you have this?" So at the end, I did my best with the time I had, and yeah, that was the first step: provisioning and supply. Also, what I wanted to do is to make some food prep. From the supply that we got, I bring all the food and all the perishable goods in my house, and I started to pack in different portion with already the idea of what portion I'm going to use for what meal. I learned that from Baliats when I was working there, and I was cooking also. Really, batching is one of the key when you cooking for guests. Also, right, I was supposed to live for 1 week. What do you say I was supposed to? I'm gonna be out for 1 week. So I also needed to fulfill all my orders, my bread orders before to leave. So it was like pretty hard few days before to leave. I wanted to do some preparation before to go on the boat. And I also had to fulfill all my orders because I texted all my customers, right, saying I'm away for a week. Do you want bread? So I ended up making, I think, 20 breads in 2 days. But I did it. I am so glad. I know now that I can do it. And then I also portion the meat, portion the seafood. I prepared my ekpen kasundi. I started to marinate some meat. Well, was preparing for the charter, right? The only thing I couldn't do is the achara, the onion, the garlic. But anyway, I'm gonna be on the boat for cooking, so I can do that there. It's all right.
So today it's the day I'm going to cook on a yacht for 1 week. Let's get started.
So when I arrived on the boat in the morning, it was a pretty good weather, as you can see. So we first starting to go in the kitchen. It showed me where are the different stuff. My memory at that time was not very efficient. So tired from all the previous stuff. But anyway, I listen, I look, and then eventually, if I don't know where to stop, I'm gonna ask again. That's all right. So entering in the boat, the crew was preparing for the guests.
So I'm here on board and starting to make some preparation. We're gonna pick up the guest. We're gonna refill the water now, and then we're gonna pick up the guests. And I'm only gonna have them for dinner. So my plan is to make fish, but here the kitchen is pretty different from what I am used to because it's very small and it's close. But we get some stuff done. I already start to prepare some onion pickles, and then I'm gonna do a achara.
So eventually, everybody come on board. The water was full, and then we started our crew to Pas Island for the first stop. And I was so happy because I was able to do almost all my preparation as well as preparing the first dinner. And regarding to motion and stability, well, it was pretty flat when we left, no wind at all, which is not really good when you're going on a sailing boat. But I was happy in the kitchen. It was not moving so much. I was able to cook. But then, of course, we check up the weather, and we just saw that a typhoon was coming to the Philippines. The first night, the guests they went to sleep very early because they were jet lagged. The kids they didn't even eat dinner, and maybe I should have served dinner earlier. But as you can guess, the next morning wake up very early. So the first breakfast, some banana pancakes. The guests didn't want to cook any eggs or any bacon or sausage for the breakfast. Only toast or pancakes, so just small breakfast was good for them. And they didn't want many dessert. They were more in the healthy habits of eating. It was actually a good match with me because in my meal plan I had a lot of vegetarian meals. The second day, the plan was to start sailing toward Black Island.
So now we are on the way to Black Island. Start to move a little bit on the boat. I don't know, my head is feeling weird. I don't know what to do. It's the first time I'm cooking on the boat, so it's kind of weird.
Of course, we will stop in different island on the way. The bad thing is that the wind was still not here, so we needed to use the engine. So we first stopped in Pamalican Island, where the guests went for a swim, for a snorkel. They really enjoyed. At that point, I was doing fine. I was doing my preparation, and everything went well. Lunch went good. They were happy. In the afternoon, we moved on to another island, which is the Butonai Island. The guests got to snorkel and play in the water. And then this time, we had earlier lunch, so everybody can eat before they knock down because of the jet lag, of course. And the second day went pretty well, actually. But we were still looking at the weather forecast, and that was it. The typhoon was coming on us. And actually, Black Island is really on open sea. There is no coast around that will protect us. So, the guests really wanted to go in Black Island the next day, but for us, it was not sure because it would mostly depend on the weather. So the next morning, they also wake up very early. The captain took care of their breakfast because the thing is that it really started to get windy and rainy, and we needed to start to prepare the boat for sailing, adding another sail on the boat in case of too strong wind. Under the rain, with a lot of wind on the boat moving a lot. I'm sorry for that. I don't have any video of this because, well, it was raining. I was pretty busy and I really didn't have any time to take a video or something this day. But the third day, we're a bit chaotic. Of course, we decided not to go in Black Island. The wind started to come up, which was a good thing. And we started to sail back and heading to Kalumbuyan Island. So we were doing fine. And then the wind stopped, and well, the boat went a little bit slower. And the thing is that I think the guests were so excited. They really wanted to swim and to discover the marine life that they were a bit annoyed by the situation. They really wanted to go faster. But what can we do? We are on a sailing boat. There is no way. Oh, that's also the deal when you decide to go on a boat on a vacation. You go with the wind and you adapt to the weather. And of course, the number one is safety. So that's why we decided not to go to Black Island, especially that we have two young kids on board. Well, eventually, I served the lunch while we were heading to Kalumbuyan Island. Everybody ate. The stomach was full, happy tummy. And then, well, they went for swim. But the situation with the typhoon was clearly not good. It was really coming on us. Well, not the eye of the typhoon, but we will definitely get a lot of rain and then get wind. Knowing that we have two young kids on board and that the safety is the number one top priority, we ended up in a common agreement to go back in the bay and maybe wait there until the weather is going to be better. The guests decide to stay in the hotel there, and then we heading back to our mooring in Busuanga Bay, kind of waiting to know if the guests would like to continue, how the weather will be. When you are on the boat, you need to be more flexible, more adaptable. And this time, the weather were bad. It's better to be safe than being in the middle of a storm. It's not really nice, especially when you have two kids on board. So that's why we decided to end up in a Busuanga Bay. And then the next day, maybe we can go if the weather is better. Eventually, the guests decided that they won't going back on the boat because they really wanted to try to take a flight to get out the island, because the thing with the weather at that time is that we had one typhoon coming, and after that there is another one coming, so maybe a 10 days rain, something like that. That's what we got. Guess they really wanted to try to fly out the island as the weather was still okay. The Busuanga airport, it cannot really run when it's raining, when it's windy. Actually, most of the flight were canceled. So that's why our guests just decide and try to get out of the island before they get stranded. Charter just last 3 days instead of 6 days. A good thing for me because I was really, really tired. And it was kind of stressful to be on the boat, managing a demanding guest. For the first time, it was not my first time on board, but it was the really first time that I am going on board for working as a cook. So everything was new for me. If ever you're going to cook on the boat, one of the first thing I would suggest is make a meal plan. It will help you. You don't need to follow strictly, but it will give you ideas and help you with the stress, the level of stress that you can feel on the boat. Having a cookware and appliance that can be multifunctional, so you're saving space. It's really important. Also, be ready to change plan and to adapt to the situation. So, for example, during the second day, I remove chicken, I remove prawns. I said, I'm going to do this and this and this. I'm going to cook that in the oven. We're going to eat at night. Well, when we wake up the next morning, all this plan was gone because the weather starting to get a little bit bad. I needed to help the crew up for sailing. So we changed the plan and we decided to make easy lunch, easy dinner, because we really needed to help each other to make sure the experience of the guests will be the best. Overall, it was a pretty good experience. I am glad that I was able to do that. Cooking on the boat is challenging. It gives a higher level of stress and anxiety. You're cooking in a small space. You're living on the boat with the other guests, with the other crew, so you're all the time together. It can be an addition to your stress, but it was a really good experience. I'm a bit disappointed that the weather went well and that we couldn't go through the whole week, but I think that was good For me, because I was really tired, really exhausted, when I came back from this trip, I think I took like 4 or 5 days to recover, staying home, doing nothing, and the weather was bad, of course. We got 10 days of rain after that. So it was a perfect timing for me to take a rest and just get over all the stress and anxiety I got during this trip. Because yeah, the reality was that the one of the guests was really demanding and was never satisfied. But you also need to deal with that. Sometimes you're gonna have guests like this one, and that's okay. Just try your best. Try to make them happy. Just do your best. So I am actually ready to go back on the yacht for cooking for the next charter. Maybe this time I will have more time to take video of the landscape. But the reality is that when you're cooking, you don't really see where you're going. And I was pretty busy. I hope you like being on this venture with me. Thank you very much for watching. If you like to support our channel, please give us a thumb up. And then until next time, keep being adventurous.